Today's show also brought to you by our friends over at ExpressVPN. Unfortunately, privacy is a luxury these days in the country. But if you ask me, privacy is a prerequisite to freedom. Without privacy, there is no freedom. Privacy is given to the government, tucked into millions of classified documents. It's no secret the NSA is surveilling us by buying your information from data brokers. But what if I told you there's a way to stop that transaction and get your privacy and freedom back? Do it with ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN is an app. It sends 100% of my online activity through secure encrypted servers so no data brokers can see anything we do online. With ExpressVPN, none of your online activity is logged. ExpressVPN is a strict zero logs policy. They can't share your data because they don't have it. It's easy to use. All it takes is one click, works on all your devices. So protect yourself and your family with ExpressVPN. Right now, you can get an extra 4 months for free when you use my special link. Go to expressvpn.com/Bongino and get 4 extra months of ExpressVPN. That's expressvpn.com/Bongino. expressvpn.com/Bongino. All right, fellas, let's get this party started on this Friday. Folks, yesterday's show blew up the entire internet. It's one of the, we had a huge, massive audience. We brought up a very simple point. Keep this in mind. Again, bluff, bottom line up front. Donald Trump got elected in a shock election in 2016 nobody saw coming. The swamp has been making money for years in places like Ukraine and elsewhere. Biden and all his cronies. Trump looks into it. Trump gets impeached over it. How does that relate to what's going on? Michael Schellenberger, I'm going to play it again today because it's relevant. An investigative reporter found out that the predicate for the impeachment allegations against Donald Trump, because he was looking into Ukraine, may have had its genesis in USAID funding. I can't even describe to you the enormity of that. That you may have paid for regime change in the freaking United States. Bad enough we're doing it overseas. Trump exposed the Ukrainian piggy bank that Biden was profiting from. If USAID money was used to start up and gin up media propaganda that was then used to file a complaint against Donald Trump and get him impeached, it's a huge story. That explains this. Cue up that Elizabeth Warren thing. Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, fake Indian Elizabeth Warren, is just one of many Democrats completely melting down and freaking out over Elon Musk, Doge, and Trump now looking into the payment systems of the United States government because they don't want you to know where the money is going. They are panicking over you figuring out where your government is spending money because they don't want you to know it's being spent to censor you and to go against your electoral choices, especially if they're Donald Trump. Listen to Elizabeth Warren. You'll see what I mean.
And look, bless everybody who gets out there and makes a fortune. Bless everybody who gets up every day and goes to work. But understand the underpinnings of all that are something we all invested in. And now we've got Donald Trump and his co-president, Elon Musk, and they're just running a wrecking ball through it.
Folks, she is speaking for the entire Democrat Party. Elon Musk was a hero for them when he built this electric car revolution they came to love. They turned on Elon Musk because his Doge programmers and his Doge geniuses are now inside the government for the first time in like forever, looking at where your taxpayer dollars are being spent. And now we find out that the collusion hoax, the Spygate thing, the impeachment hoax, and all of this may have been financed by some of the same payment systems Elon's looking into. Do you see why they're freaking out? Many of you picked up the book yesterday. I showed you my book, Follow the Money on this. Like I said, get it from the library, whatever. I don't really care. I have been covering this money trail for years. They don't want Elon covering it because he's got the world's biggest megaphone on Twitter. And you are going to find out that all of the anti-Trump scandals, ladies and gentlemen, are being run by the same people. The same people. I want to play this again. I hate to do it to you 2 days in a row, but folks, yesterday's show went crazy, and I cannot let you go into the weekend without wrapping this baby up in a nice little gift wrap and putting it under your political Christmas tree, okay? Here was the segment that filled in a big piece of the puzzle to my Follow the Money investigation. The money that's been used to attack you and Donald Trump forever. Where the entire thing started. And it turns out Michael Schellenberger may have an answer, that USAID and your taxpayer dollars and payments may have been used to fund a media report that was actually propaganda used to get Donald Trump impeached as he started looking into Ukraine. Check this out.
You have this new piece on Substack that the USAID and the CIA helped orchestrate Trump's impeachment.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, it's a crazy story. I mean, you might forget that, the House of Representatives impeached President Trump in December of 2019. Many people may not remember that it was a CIA analyst who was left over from the Obama White House who wrote the memo that led to the impeachment. It was all based on hearsay. The person had not actually been in the room with Trump. Nonetheless, this memo that he wrote relied heavily on a report done by an organization funded by USAID. In fact, its initial founding funding, I mean, now it's tens of millions of dollars, had gone into this group called the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, a name that's not very memorable, OCCRP, but it was basically created as an extension of the State Department and then of USAID. And as you know, Jesse, this is very serious to be involved in an effort to do regime change at home, as we've been discovering as the files have come out with what Elon Musk has been doing. We know that USAID was really about regime change abroad. It was a kind of public-facing part, regime change operation like CIA, but not covert, more overt. Well, now you see a similar blowback, just like they did censorship abroad and brought censorship tools back home. They were doing this sort of thing abroad, creating a predicate essentially for Trump's impeachment.
Folks, I had to play this again because this is such an insane story that explains everything that's gone on over basically the last 10 years, roughly. Donald Trump started entering around and sniffing around the presidential race in around 2015. And that's, by the way, my sources tell me that's roughly when the spying starts as well on Trump and a lot of the Republican candidates for president. What my source calls many of the Pied Piper candidates. I gave you the list a long time ago of the people that my source alleges were spied on. It wasn't just Donald Trump. But this is now 10 years explained in one simple segment on the Jesse Waters Show. They are pissed off about Elon and USAID because they cannot have a paper trail of the regime change stuff they've been doing at home to destroy Donald Trump. And you paid for it. Some of you may have forgotten this. I played this on yesterday's radio show, but it's pivotal to put it together on a podcast where you can all put it together and see it, okay? Does this make sense now? Schellenberger and Jesse Waters last night in that segment. Schellenberger's reporting, he's alleging that the whistleblower, which we believe is this guy, Eric Ciamarella, who is a Obama CIA holdover on in the Trump National Security Team early in the White House, right? He's indicating that he may have gotten his information from media reports funded by USAID, who was paying money to Politico and elsewhere in other outlets, right? Ciamarella, if you read my book, you'll note that he was working with Biden on the Ukraine portfolio, where Biden and his family are making a ton of money in Ukraine. Obama knows all of this. He's warned about it. The media is desperately protecting Obama. They don't care about Biden. That's why they want to make this story go away. Badly. This is what was going on when Biden was the vice president. Do you remember these calls? This is how freaked out they were. They had to impeach Donald Trump when he calls Zelensky and starts asking questions about the Ukraine grift. And this is where USAID fits in. You may have forgotten these tapes. I'm not going to let you. This is the president prior to Zelensky. And by the way, Zelensky knows all of this. This guy Poroshenko. Biden's got the Ukraine book for the Obama White House. Obama puts him in charge. Biden uses it to make money right away. Here he is freaked out, talking to the prior Ukrainian president, Poroshenko, about this new prosecutor who's going to start looking into how Biden family and all these other people who are making a shit ton of money in Ukraine. Here's Biden freaked out. And I'll translate. The Ukrainian president has a thick accent. I'll tell you what he says. But I want you to listen to this. They had to shut this thing down. And that's where USAID came in. Check this out.
Let me ask you one thing before I forget. Privat bank. I understand the governor of the bank is tentative about setting a date certain for the transition to take place. And I'm being told secondhand that, I don't know this is her position for sure, that she is unsure of a date until she gets an agreement from you. Here's what I've told them. I've told them to get back to her and set a date, and I would talk to you about the date. Because this is getting very, very close. What I don't want to have happen, I don't want Trump to get in a position where he thinks he's about to buy onto a policy where the financial system is going to collapse and he's going to be looked to pour more money into Ukraine. That's how he'll think about it before he gets sophisticated enough to know the detail. So anything you can do to push the Privat bank to closure so that the IMF loan comes forward, I would respectfully suggest is critically important to your economic as well as physical security. I know it's difficult. I know Kolomoisky is a pain in the ass and a problem for everybody, but it really is critical.
Do you guys see what's going on here? We play this one first for a reason. Biden is basically threatening the Ukrainian president prior to Zelensky. Hey, man, your physical security could be at risk if you don't shut this down right away. Notice what he's talking about. He's afraid Donald Trump is going to start looking into the money going to Ukraine. That's what that whole thing is about. He's afraid of Privat Bank specifically, which is a bank alleged to be involved in the payments between Burisma and the Biden family through Hunter Biden. He doesn't want, very simply stated, he is terrified that Poroshenko is going to start asking President Trump for Ukrainian money. President Trump and his team are going to start looking at the money that went over there and find what? Maybe that USAID funds were involved in the attacks on Donald Trump, the collusion hoax, and the other stuff. You get what's going on here? By the way, hat tip OANN, Chanel Rion for doing a great job on this, by the way, and others. That's where some of these clips are from. Appropriate hat tips in order. It gets worse. Here's Biden again. I've got two more of these. Talking about, again, the prosecutor general and FBI investigations, where he grows increasingly freaked out that people are going to start looking into all the people who are making money in Ukraine, Democrats and Republicans, by the way, him being one of them. And he's terrified Trump is going to be the guy to shut this gravy train down and expose what's going on. Check this out.
Assuming that there is a new government and a new prosecutor general, I am prepared to do a public signing of the commitment for the $1 billion.
And despite of the fact that we didn't have any corruption charges, we don't have any information about he doing something wrong, I especially asked him, no, it was the day before yesterday, I especially asked him to resign.
Congratulations on installing the new prosecutor general. It's going to be critical for him to work quickly to repair the damage Shokin did. And I'm a man of my word. And that now that the new prosecutor general's in place, we're ready to move forward in signing that new $1 billion loan guarantee.
The balls on this guy? After threatening the guy, he now says, hey, that $1 billion loan guarantee the U.S. is going to help you out with. Yeah, now I'll go out and do a public signing as long as you make the prosecutor general looking into this whole thing Trump's looking into go away. That hat tip New York Post on that one. And again, that's all the same people, folks. The Democrats have had an unusual interest in one Rudolph Giuliani for the last, 8 years? Suing him, trying to prosecute him, destroying his reputation. You know Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York. Why? That's why. Because if you were watching and not listening to the podcast, if you're watching on Rumble, you'll see in that post clip that those tapes, some of them were released through someone, through Giuliani. So, of course, instead of actually investigating those tapes, which is the biggest freaking scandal of our time, they investigate who? Rudy Giuliani. I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if it turns out there's a USAID connection to that, too. Do you understand what your government has been doing in your name? Opening your border, actively terrorizing its citizens through censorship campaigns, funding operations around the world to get rid of Donald Trump and put his people in jail. I'm going to play one more. I'm going to take a break. Here's one last one for you, where the Ukrainian president, prior to Zelensky, and by the way, Zelensky's never come clean on any of this. Zelensky knows what's happening here. The Russia-Ukraine war is a different matter. I'm just telling you, Zelensky could have shut this down, this impeachment hoax, right away by telling people about this. And he didn't. He knows about this. Here's Biden starting to freak out because the Ukrainian president prior to Zelensky is worried about the FBI looking into this stuff. But Biden assures you, don't worry. The FBI, we got that taken care of. Winky, winky, nod, nod. Check this out.
If it is true that FBI working with him, at least I want to know that.
No, they are not. I told you the FBI concluded he had nothing, and they stopped. That was it. There's no reason to talk to him again.
Okay.
I will check that and confirm that with you.
Now, again, here it is. Follow the money, folks. If you read the Insane in Ukraine chapter, in the beginning, you'll find out there's a whole other story about what the FBI was doing with a Soros group in Ukraine to make sure all this stuff went away. All of this stuff is documented in the book. There's an FBI agent who later went on to work with a Soros-affiliated group that was trying to push a do not prosecute list to cover all this stuff up. And they went after Giuliani when he exposed it. They freaked out to make sure nobody would find out about the Ukraine piggy bank they were all profiting off of. You don't think freaking Putin knew about this whole thing? You don't think it's a little bit odd that Putin waits for Trump to leave office to invade Russia, knowing he's got all of this material on Biden and all the people who made money in Ukraine? You don't think that's weird? What do they say in New York? I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Folks, they were in a panic over this USAID story because your money has financed a lot of this. What a scam. I got more on this coming up next, including now the federal judges getting involved trying to shut this down. This is how freaked out they are about this whole thing. Hey, if you're a gun owner who thinks the battle's over because Trump won, think again. The threats haven't disappeared. They're merely evolved. To help defend yourself and loved ones in today's world, you should stay informed about the latest strategies. That's where the USCCA's free expert-led in-person training classes come in. Simply visit uscca.com/class to sign up for a class near you. They're excellent. With over 50 options to choose from, you'll find the perfect fit. Some of their more popular classes include Should I Shoot? When Can You Use Force? You learn when it's justified to protect yourself, defense shooting fundamentals, women's situational awareness, and personal safety. As a responsible, well-trained gun owner, you owe it to yourself and your family to receive training from some of the best in the industry. Don't let your firearm become a liability instead of an asset. And trust me, the expert instructors at the USCCA are second to none. Check them out. Go to uscca.com/class right now to register for a free training class in your area. Empower yourself, prepare for the worst, pray for the best. Train up. Sign up today at uscca.com/class. /class. Thank you, USCCA. We appreciate it. Look at this. Fox News happened yesterday. Federal judge orders limited Doge access to sensitive Treasury Department payment system records. Folks, this is the entire federal government right now, the swampy portion, is committed to making sure you never find out where the hell all this money came from and where it went. It is disgusting what is going on. This is an enormous scandal. I can't say this enough. The U.S. lawmakers have been bought off for years in foreign countries, Ukraine included. The Ukrainians knew about it. Vladimir Putin knew about it. It may be one of the reasons, because he had blackmail information on a freaking U.S. president, he invaded a country and nearly started World War III. And the media, instead of trying to uncover these payments to these people, to start these impeachment scandals and the collusion hoax, what did they do? They focused on reputation destruction of Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani. This thing is just, it's so spiraled out of control. You can tell by my zeal to cover this that I feel like, again, my life's work is finally coming out. Thanks to other people, too. Schellenberger opened up an angle I was not aware of, filled in a huge piece of the puzzle for me. Folks, another thing they're losing their minds over, the Democrats, is this immigration enforcement. They are doing everything to tie up Donald Trump, to tie up his nominees. They cannot exist without their demographic destiny plan and the open border. They are at the point now where, unbelievably, left-wing organizations are actually ratting out the United States government to basically terror groups like TDA gangs to make sure they don't get arrested. This was the Border Patrol chief on Fox talking about this. I can't even tell you how much control of our government we have completely lost. Thankfully, 2 weeks ago, this changed. But the mess we have to clean up is near apocalyptic. Check this out.
Talk about these latest numbers that you have and how you guys have been able to get it done, Chief.
So look, the U.S. Border Patrol, we know how to get the job done. We know how to secure the border. All we needed was a president that was going to empower us, a strong leader like President Trump, and then a secretary like Secretary Noem that knows exactly what we need to do to secure the border. We're seeing almost a 90% decrease in illegal entries since January the 21st. Not only that, but our criminal prosecutions of those we're apprehending is up almost 52%. You talked about, you led in with the Tren de Agua. Our U.S. Border Patrol BORTAC unit is out there with ICE making those arrests. And so, look, Border Patrol knows how to secure the border. All we needed was an administration that would let us enforce the law. And we're out there, and we are seeing phenomenal gains on the border.
I have to distill this down to two big important things. The reason these stories are running after each other is for a reason. Everything the corrupt progressive wing of the Democrat Party has done has been done to intentionally destroy the United States. This is not a freaking accident. They figured out a long time ago, if they can hide the money trail, they can steal your money, use government money, trillions of dollars of government money. That's what our budget is, $7 trillion. Take a chunk of it, spend it on anti-American activities. They are literally spending your money to destroy your country. They are also flushing it to non-governmental organizations that are not just doing things like attacking Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani and paying for media propaganda used to impeach him, but they're being paid to religious groups and other groups out there to open our borders so we're invaded. This is the craziest thing. It's like if you read about it in a history book about the Roman Empire, you'd be like, they paid people to invade their country? That's what we're doing. And then when the invasion happens and gang members get in the country, the left has to protect the gang members just like they have to protect the corrupt money running that was going on in Ukraine. And they warned them, hey, ICE is coming. ABC News. ICE carries out a raid in Colorado. 100 members of a Venezuelan gang targeted for arrest. Targeted for arrest? I say targeted because we didn't get a lot of them. Because left-wing media goons and others and other groups out there made sure they got away. Listen to Tom Homan, our borders are, on this. If this doesn't piss you off, how corrupt our government has been. This is why we need rock'em sock'em robots for the next 2 years. There's no time, folks. We have so many messes to clean up. The left is trying. This is intentional. They're not destroying the country by accident. Watch this.
So many questions. First of all, if they're shouting and helping these people get away with bullhorns, how is that legal to get help from the people in the streets? I know they can protest, but that's not what they're doing.
You're exactly right. When they come to they cross the line of impediment, and that's why I'm working very close, starting this morning with Department of Justice, and where do they cross that line of impediment? So they may find themselves in a pair of handcuffs very soon. So working with DOJ on that, get some legal guidance on that. I'm not an attorney. I know what SecOps is about. I know what crossing that line is, but getting DOJ back up on that. So it's something we're looking at right now, Harris. We're not going to tolerate it anymore.
This is how it's done when you FA and you have to FO. Holman understands, the left understands nothing other than the old Michael Anton line, real material losses. Listen to me. If you do not impose real material losses on the left, they will change none of their behavior. You want the left to stop warning rapists, murderers, and gang members that there's going to be a raid and they're going to be deported by Holman and our United States heroic men and women in the Border Patrol and elsewhere? You want to stop it? When they warn them and they impede an investigation, go lock them up, then it'll stop. It's the only way. They don't understand talk. They don't understand chatter. They only understand handcuffs and real material losses imposed upon them. There is no other way, folks. This, of course, is our FO segment where a lot of lefties are starting to find out that after they FA'd, a lot of us are tired of letting it go. We're not doing that anymore. And you're now going to FO too. You're going to find out. Lefties are just starting to find out now, of course, the penalties for voting for left-wing lunatics like gang members in your community, your energy bill going crazy, the U.S. going bankrupt, massive inflation. Oh, look at this story. Governor Hochul, what state is that? New York. That's a liberal state, Dan. Yes, it is. I used to live there. Governor Hochul's green energy push drives the average New Yorker's Con Ed bill, that's the energy company up there, up $154 a month in just 5 years. I love New York, man. I was born there. I live there. But you keep voting for this crazy, and crazy's going to kick you right in the balls and it's going to steal the money right out of your wallet. You are going to go broke right quick, as they say down here. Folks, the FOing is going to continue, man. Thankfully, Trump's got people in there now who understand this problem. Did you see this video that went viral of our new Secretary of Energy, who has now been confirmed, Chris Wright? You want to talk about a guy who gets the green energy scam and why Trump appointed these people? And this guy's about to let you FO that the green energy scam is done? This was all over the internet the other day. Listen to him explain in just about 30 seconds plus how this shit is over, this scam. Check this out.
People who are driving policy, the media, politicians, they've never bothered to learn anything about climate change. And they don't seem to appreciate at all that the cost and affordability of energy is simply intimate to human well-being. It always has, everywhere and always. So these two ignorances about the importance of energy and about real facts about climate change are driving just a massively destructive movement, not just destructive to the economic well-being of humans, but I speak in schools, it's turning people away from science, and I mean science, this process of questioning and challenging, not the science, this sort of top-down, mandates that justify what people want to do anyway.
I can't tell you this enough, how Trump is the FAFO president. You think he's appointing these people by accident? RFK, Tulsi, Kash Patel, Chris Wright, new secretary Pete Hegseth. You think this was all by an accident there? Folks, people are about to find out. And we don't have time. We don't. There's not a single day that can go to waste. We have to keep swinging, playing rock'em sock'em robots every day. Don't stop politically punching at any time. I've got more coming up next, including an update on the Jeffrey Epstein story we discussed yesterday on the podcast and radio show. How people in the DOJ, there are some whispers that we may finally get that story out there. Interesting. Because I let you know yesterday, and I put the receipts in the show if you want to watch yesterday's show if you missed it. What the hell was Obama's fixer doing meeting with Jeffrey Epstein? It's kind of a story nobody really wants to talk about. More on that coming up next. Field of Greens, ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite supplements. It's actually the staple of my supplement agenda. What is Field of Greens first? It is healthy, wholesome, organic fruits and vegetables. You know, we don't always have time to eat 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Ground up into this delicious tasting powder. It's a small scoop. I like the wild berry, this lemon lime. You put it in whatever beverage you like. Protein shakes, I put it in green tea. I love it. It's delicious. A glass of Field of Greens daily is like nutritional armor for your body. The fruits and vegetables were selected by a doctor who works there. There's a heart health group, lung and kidney groups, metabolism. I love the energy I get with Field of Greens. I've shown you my blood work since I've been taking it. It's delicious. It's the nutrition my body needs daily to function at a high level. And only Field of Greens makes you a better health promise. Your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back. Let me get you started with my special discount. I got you 20% off your first order. It's big savings. Order Field of Greens today. Just use code DAN at brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. That's code DAN at brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Our last sponsor today before we get back to the show. When it comes to protecting your family, it's not just about having a firearm. Byrna, folks, Byrna. Because lethal force isn't the answer for every situation. Imagine an imminent threat comes to you and your family. Instinct may drive you to reach for a firearm immediately. But what if there were a way to defend yourself and de-escalate a situation without the irreversible consequences of deadly force? BYRNA, Byrna, has a non-lethal pistol launcher equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammo, which can incapacitate an attacker for up to 40 minutes. No need to go DEFCON 1. You just need protection to ensure we can defuse the situation and drive the threat away. I've trained with firearms for many years, and the Byrna pistol they sent me was really easy to learn to use. If you don't own a firearm, even if you do, it's a great option to have. Made in America, legal in all 50 states, requires no background checks, and shipped right to your door. Visit Byrna.com/Dan now for an exclusive 10% discount for my listeners. That's Byrna, BYRNA.com/Dan. Check it out. You won't regret it. Highly recommended. Check it out. All right, back to the show. Just a quick update on... You know, the Bongino Army, the chat. We love you guys, the P1s out there, the McGroin crew, everyone. I am so proud to be part of this where we are way ahead of people who do this for a living on what Donald Trump is. I said that wrong. Let me just kind of rephrase that. Professional media people get paid to tell you the news every day. Here are the stories. Here are the headlines. It's absolutely incredible that after 10 years of Donald Trump being on the political scene, that a bunch of us, this kind of like ragtag group of Bongino Army members, that we consistently beat the media on explaining how Donald Trump works. We don't even get paid to do this. We're soccer coaches, electricians, former cops, and we're constantly teaching the media how to do their own job. I told everyone about the Gaza story. Everyone chill. He's not talking about a military takeover of Gaza. If you just would have waited a day, you would have figured that out. Unsurprisingly, however, Breitbart, Hamas calls Trump irresponsible for Gaza takeover plan. Ridiculous and absurd. Folks, we should definitely back off the plan now. The terror group of infant murdering, women raping savages is like, we don't really like this plan. It's ridiculous or absurd. Oh, that's it. That case, forget it. You better scrap that. We're done. We're done with that. Wait, Hamas doesn't like, oh, forget it. As if you got your asses kicked. To these Hamas losers out there and demons, right? What part of you got your ass kicked don't you understand? Again, you want to argue the Palestinian case. I get it. It's very complicated. I understand it. There's no case for Hamas. They're demon savage. They're not even, to call them pigs is really an insult to pigs. It is. They're just garbage. They're human filth. They're piles of human shit. These people mean nothing. They are demon savage slobs. You got your ass kicked. You got your nuts blown off by pagers you were too stupid to figure out were rigged. Your entire leadership has been wiped out. Nobody gives a shit about what you think about Trump's plan. Hamas, they call the plan irresponsible. This is classic. You know what's irresponsible? A massive terror strike on Israel, killing innocent people, shoveling their heads off, raping women, getting your ass handed to you, and then having the balls to speak out about Trump's plan. Even commenting on this thing is irresponsible. Nobody gives a shit what you think, Hamas. Nobody cares. You're getting your ass kicked. You should be thanking Donald Trump for volunteering the United States to at least have some role in rebuilding the place that was destroyed because of your bullshit. Now, getting back to the story I talked about yesterday. Huge story, again, not a lot of people are talking about. There is a little current of information I'm getting that the Department of Justice under Pam Bondi may be finally releasing a lot of information on this Jeffrey Epstein case, which is a huge deal. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I'm hoping it does. I've been covering it for a long time. The Jeffrey Epstein case, you do not know all the details of this thing, I promise. There are a lot of really obviously powerful people. This part you know, but the specific names we may not, including, I believe, the Clintons, based on information I discussed yesterday, who are knee-deep in involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, and no one can figure out what the level of entanglement is. Jeffrey Epstein met with Obama's fixer, his lawyer, Catherine Rumler, who was always the one in the middle of these Obama scandals, and we can't figure out why, what they're hiding. Here's Marsha Blackburn, who has been all over this. She's a senator from Tennessee, Republican, obviously. And she's like, hey, man, is it time now? It's time to start overturning that rock and seeing what's underneath it. Check this out.
I've repeatedly requested a subpoena for the complete unredacted Epstein flight logs from the FBI. I've also pushed for the release of Ghislaine Maxwell's unredacted little black book of contacts and addresses. The American people have the right to know who flew on his planes, who witnessed the crimes, and who potentially participated in his global sex trafficking ring. Yet time and again, in the last Congress, Democrat leadership and then FBI Director Wray stonewalled my request. But now, with Republican control of Congress and President Trump back in the Oval Office, we're going to see some real change on this issue. Just last week, the president's excellent pick for FBI Director Kash Patel vowed to work with me in releasing the Epstein records and breaking apart the trafficking rings that harm countless women and children across our country. To be clear, this is not a celebrity issue. This is about ending modern-day slavery and finding out who is participating in these sex trafficking rings.
Did you hear the key part of that? The Ghislaine Maxwell Black Book. What names are in there, man? You understand how many powerful people probably want this thing to desperately go away? How many people were interconnected with this Epstein sex ring operation? I heard from a reporter once that there are tapes. A very well-respected reporter, many of you know, that there are a lot of tapes out there of a lot of people. I'm not ever going to let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I talked about it yesterday. You can go check it out. I'm not letting it go ever. Ever. Folks, the Clintons are knee-deep in that thing. The Clintons are at this point in their sad, sorry, pathetic, tragic careers where they've ruined the country, ruined the Democrat Party. The Clintons, you would think there'd be a time where the Clintons would just slither off into the sunset, collect their big fat speaking fees and go away, especially given that Bill Clinton may be knee-deep in this Epstein thing. Not the Clintons. So, you know, I have a personal attachment to the Duffy family. What does that have to do with this whole thing? Well, Evita Duffy hosts the excellent Bongino Report Early Edition with Avita, a show we're very proud of. One of the most successful new podcast launches ever, by the way, thanks to her and her content. Well, her father is Sean Duffy, who is the Secretary of Transportation. I love Sean. Known him a long time. Good man. So the Secretary put out this tweet the other day, and how does this tie to the Clintons? Almost seamlessly. He puts out a tweet, says, big news, talk to the Doge team. Here's Doge again. They don't want anybody looking at this except, Secretary Duffy. Talk to the Doge team. They're going to plug in to help upgrade our aviation system. Sounds like a really good thing, right? Thank you, Secretary Duffy. We got this archaic aviation system. We just had an incident in Pennsylvania. We had an incident right at Reagan Airport. So, of course, Hillary Clinton, who can never shut up, the dossier, the Russia hoax, Whitewater, an endless litany of Hillary Clinton, Rose Law Firm, Vince Foster. Hillary Clinton has to stick her nose into everything because they just can't shut up. She says to Secretary Duffy about Doge, they have no relevant experience. Most of them aren't old enough to rent a car. And you're going to let them mess with airline safety that's already deteriorated on your watch? On your watch. The guy's been the secretary for like a week. Thankfully, he responded. Good job, Mr. Sean. Madam Secretary, with all due respect, experienced Washington bureaucrats are the reason our nation's infrastructure is crumbling. You need to sit this one out. I don't think I would have been as polite, but Sean's a good man. A nice Wisconsin disposition to him. They are terrified of Elon Musk's Doge team. Listen, I met Elon in a green room once. I don't know him at all. I said maybe 2-3 words to him. He was very kind to me, nice to my wife, took a picture with Paula. I don't know Elon. But I'm going to tell you something. I think Elon Musk's most important piece of work and contribution to this fabric of America is not going to be Tesla. These are all important things. I'm going to be SpaceX. I don't even think it's going to be him saving X. Those are all critical things. If this Doge continues to do what it's doing right now and uncovering what our government's been doing in our name and can fix even 50% of it, the footprint this guy will have left on our society will be amazing. Guy said it right. Forget 50, 10, 20%. The stuff in just 2 weeks that Elon and Doge have found out is so mind-blowing that we're doing entire shows on it. It's why the left is freaking out and wants Elon in jail, like actually wants him in jail. Fox News ran a piece, meet the young team of software engineers slashing government waste at Doge. God forbid they do that. Government waste is the bedrock of the Democrat Party. Here's the freak out. This is how crazy it is. You've got people like AOC. And by the way, I mean this because we owned a bar. We had a bartender in our bar. He was one of the smartest guys I ever met. He listened to people. He was like a psychiatrist, guy Vinny, super smart. Not a knock on bartenders. However, if you're there are dumb people everywhere. We had dumb people in my job. We had dumb people all over the place. I've worked with. There are dumb bartenders too. Not a lot of them, but there are dumb ones. AOC was one of them. Here's AOC again freaking out about Elon and amazingly sees no irony in this at all. The single dumbest member to ever be elected to Congress is now criticizing these like super genius kids as being unintelligent. This really happened. Check this out.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed. They're putting 19-year-olds in at the Treasury. This dude is not smart. And the danger in the lack of intelligence and the lack of expertise that Elon has. I mean, this guy is one of the most morally vacant, but also least knowledgeable about these systems that we really know of. But the point is that what that means is that they're going to hit a button inevitably. They are going to hit a button and things can go sideways. Things can go sideways.
Things can go sideways? like USAID paying media propaganda people to invent a fake story about Donald Trump to overthrow the United States government? Like that kind of sideways? Things could go sideways like what? We can't figure out how to keep a plane and a helicopter from crashing into each other over a major airport just miles away from the White House? Is this woman for real? Are you sure this is the hill you idiots on the left want to die on? Elon is a dumb billionaire? You didn't even own the bar. You were a server behind a bar before you unbelievably got elected to Congress with this dumb reform act that's not reform. You just want the government to keep wasting people's money. By the way, here's a quick clip of the people. AOC is definitely smarter than these people. Here's one of Elon's engineers deciphering the Dead Sea Scrolls or something. I bet he wanted to be a bartender like AOC. Check this out.
So I've always been interested in history. Growing up, I learned Latin. I was never that good at it, but I was always kind of into that sort of stuff, read a lot about the Roman Empire and things. There are these burnt up scrolls that were buried in the Pompeii eruption. No one knows how to read them, but some professors have created CT scans of these scrolls, and they uploaded the data on the internet as a competition to see who could find writing inside of these scrolls. There are hundreds of these scrolls that are from the mansion. We've scanned a couple of them, and no one had been able to find any writing in them using these methods. Late one Saturday night, I was sitting at a party at a friend's house in Omaha, and I get a text from another person on the challenge team, and he says, "Hey, I've just uploaded this new kind of piece of the scroll. You should take a look at it." I remotely access my computer. I type into it like, "Please run the algorithm on this new piece of scroll." And then I just kind of started. I pull out my phone again, just nonchalantly, like, "Hey, I wonder how that went." And there are 3 Greek letters on the screen, letters I'd never seen before. It was really cool because it's like, oh my goodness, like we actually detected new writing in the scrolls using AI. That was the moment I realized like this is actually going to work. Like we're probably going to read the scrolls. Now we're reading entire paragraphs from the scrolls, and hopefully we'll be able to read the entire book and read the hundreds of other books that were buried in this condition as well.
What a moron. That guy sounds... I bet he wishes he had AOC's IQ. Oh, you know, how many times have we spoken about stupid, smart people, smart people, and stupid people? For those of you who've missed it, stupid people are just people who are stupid and just don't know anything. Unfortunately, it happens. Smart people are the most valuable members of society, the Elon Musk types, that understand the limits of their own knowledge. So they hire other people to do things. You know, I'll give you an example. You're a great heart surgeon. Doesn't mean you can change oil. You hire a good mechanic for it. That's what makes you a smart person. Stupid smart people are stupid and smart because they're really smart, but they think being smart in one space means they're smart in every space. So AOC, who may have bullshitted a bunch of people to getting elected, thinks she knows everything about everything, including government payment systems, and therefore that makes her a stupid smart person. They're the most dangerous people in the world because they don't know the limits of their own knowledge. You see there's a plague of this on the left. They're not inherently dumb people, but they don't understand the limits of their own intelligence. So they think they can inject themselves into every space of your own life. And by the way, this is epidemic on the squad side. And I know he's right. I mean, in AOC's example, it's probably not the best one because she's legitimately stupid. She just doesn't know any. Remember that interview with Margaret Hoover? I don't really know anything about the Middle East, and maybe you should just shut up. Here's another one, though, Ayanna Pressley, who's not dumb, again. But this is a stupid, smart person. This is a plague on the left, especially with the squad. Here she is, and I want you to, she's talking about white people in Iowa. Did you see this? And I just want you to listen to this for a second. She, of course, is a radical left-wing communist Democrat, crazy person, who's obviously a racist. I mean, just plainly by what you're about to hear. She's complaining about how people in Iowa and stuff don't really know anything or can't relate to people because they're white. And I just want you to replace white with any other racial group and tell me how this isn't like a racist thing. You can't because, of course, it is. Take a listen.
Like Iowa. Governor Reynolds, let's learn more about the state. Do you know what percentage of Iowans are white and what percentage are black?
I don't know the exact percentages, no. We're by far a larger percentage of white population.
That's correct. Iowa is 90% white and only 4.5% black. So that is drastically different from the national population. So when Republicans suggest Iowa should be a national model, they're advocating for a government that doesn't reflect our country.
Folks, you see how these stupid, smart people, how they think because they got elected to Congress, they can racially engineer the entire country into their new far-left communist ideological way of thinking. They are obsessed with identity politics. They cannot stop talking about race because they don't have anything else. Race is a proxy for them. That is it. It is a proxy for them to get voters to hate Republicans. If they constantly bring up race, and Republicans are arguing for a colorblind society, what do? They can't get you to vote for them because they suck, AOC and Ayanna Pressley. So they get you to vote against Republicans. Look, they're racist. So they have to constantly bring up race. They will die on this hill no matter what because they don't have anything else. They don't have anything else. One more video before the end of the week. You know, I love this guy, Peter St. Ange. This is an economics video, but it's a Friday. Want to throw this out there because this guy's really good on the economics front. I know some of you love it, some of you hate it, but this is a good one about our government spending habits and how Republicans better get their act together too, showing you I am a bipartisan criticizer of bad policy. Republicans better get their act together on this spending thing. If Donald Trump, Elon, and Doge are going to put their reputations on the line to clean up government waste, and we better get these people in Congress on board, too. Here's what I mean. Check this out.
Congressional Republicans just wrapped up a 3-day confab where they agreed to massive tax cuts, accompanied by, of course, precisely zero spending cuts. One out of two, I guess, from Washington's drunkest sailors. The agreement was part of a GOP effort to unite around a massive tax and spending bill to, quote, codify Donald Trump's campaign promises. It does great on taxes, extending Trump's first-term tax cuts and planning for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and slashing business income tax. Alas, it only cuts $31 billion in annual spending, roughly 0.5%, the federal budget, and then it immediately turns around and adds $32 billion in new spending, so no Lockheed is left behind.
Listen, I'm asking you all as a friend of the cause. I don't have friends in politics, but friends of the cause. Congressional Republicans, if you are allied in this cause, which you ran on and say you are, you're going to lose everyone. Schellenberger uncovered. He talked about it last night on Jesse Waters' show. This is going to tie in to this whole fiasco. But listen to this first. Check this out.
You have this new piece on Substack that the USAID and the CIA helped orchestrate Trump's impeachment?
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, it's a crazy story. I mean, you might forget that, the House of Representatives impeached President Trump in December of 2019. Many people may not remember that it was a CIA analyst who was left over from the Obama White House who wrote the memo that led to the impeachment. It was all based on hearsay. The person had not actually been in the room with Trump. Nonetheless, this memo that he wrote relied heavily on a report done by an organization funded by USAID. In fact, its initial founding funding, now it's tens of millions of dollars, had gone into this group called the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, a name that's not very memorable, OCCRP, but it was basically created as an extension of the State Department and then of USAID. And as you know, Jesse, this is very serious to be involved in an effort to do regime change at home, as we've been discovering as the files have come out with what Elon Musk has been doing. We know that USAID was really about regime change abroad. It was a kind of public-facing part, regime change operation like CIA, but not covert, more overt. Well, now you see a similar blowback, just like they did censorship abroad and brought censorship tools back home. They were doing this sort of thing abroad, creating a predicate, essentially, for Trump's impeachment.
What the hell just happened last night? All the credit in the world to Michael Schellenberger. This new angle to an old story is such a massive piece of the puzzle that, like, the puzzle didn't make sense until this big, huge piece was plugged in. So now we know that USAID was basically funding regime change in the United States to get rid of Donald Trump, taking an international pool of money where they were basically a carve-out for intel operations around the world to engage in regime change and anti-American activity overseas, that this USAID outfit money went to a media outlet, that's the one he's talking about, that produces this fake report about Donald Trump and his call to Ukraine. The fake report is then cited by the whistleblower who files a report with the Inspector General for the intelligence community, and that leads to the entire Donald Trump impeachment fiasco. The problem is the whole story's fake. The whole story's fake. The whistleblower didn't even hear the call. Now, where does the book come in? Again, the book is called Follow the Money. This project has been on my mind for, I had an episode taken off of Apple, censored because I talked about this story. If you go to page 135 of the book, I know it's hard to see there, but there's a chapter called The Mole. The Mole chapter is all about this entire thing in intricate detail what happened. So the whistleblower that he's talking about, so follow me here. This is not complicated, but the show's a little deep today. A whistleblower calls the Inspector General of the United States for the intel community, says Donald Trump did a quid pro quo on a call with Ukraine. The whistleblower is not on the call. The information cited in the report the whistleblower makes, that the information is taken from a USAID-funded media propaganda piece, meaning USAID and our tax dollars are funding propaganda to engage in regime change. Here's where the book comes in. This is page 136 in the chapter The Mole, talking about the whistleblower, this guy, Chiamarella. He first arrived at the White House during the Obama administration. Interesting. So he's an Obama holdover. Worked as Ukraine director on the National Security Council. Wow. Shit. I would have never guessed. The whistleblower had some interest in Ukraine, which was a piggy bank for people like Joe Biden and everyone else. Can't hurt that piggy bank. Donald Trump's asking questions about Ukraine. We better file a report. Where are we going to get the information for the report? I don't know. Maybe USAID could fund a media outlet to give us some fake shit. Oh, man. He was a Ukraine director on the National Security Council, a position later filled by our good friend Twinkies, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman. Remember Vindman? You can call me Lieutenant Colonel. Remember him? The whistleblower, Chiamarella, a multilingual Ivy League graduate, had also worked with, no way, Dan, how did you write this in the book? Had worked with former Vice President Joe Biden and former CIA Director John Brennan. Paul Sperry has done amazing work, footnoted and credited in this book at length, by the way. One more for you. This only gets better. And by better, I mean worse. You could read the whole chapter if you like. I might read the whole thing. One more thing. The whistleblower here, who got his information, apparently, according to Schellenberger's reporting, and by the way, there are lawsuits threatened about this. This operation is saying this is not what happened. Let's hear from you. Send us an email. I'll read your statement on the air. Schellenberger and them are standing by their reporting. They're saying there's a connection here. We'll see what happens. It's also noted, I read in the book, that Chiamarella, the alleged whistleblower here, worked with Alexandra Chalupa. She was the Ukrainian-American consultant for the Democrat National Committee who was one of the leading mudslingers of Russiagate dirt and the rumors. Chalupa was obsessed with Manafort. She met Chiamarella, the whistleblower, at the White House as far back as 2015. Folks, is this thing all making sense now? You're not reading this, man. You're making a huge mistake. I have been working on this forever. That's just one piece of one chapter called The Mole. You read the first chapter, Insane in Ukraine, lays out how Soros, who I've got a guy coming on, Matt Palumbo, who's my editor at Bongino Report on my radio show later, who wrote the entire book on Soros and USAID and all this other stuff. He's coming on later. If Schellenberger's reporting turns out to be accurate, I have no reason to believe it won't, that a media outlet may have been funded by USAID money to provide information that was later used in an IG report by a whistleblower, and the information turned out to be hyperbolic at best and used to impeach Donald Trump in order to protect Biden and everyone else's piggy bank in Ukraine. Folks, now do you see why Donald Trump is calling this the scandal of the century, the funding of media outlets by USAID money? Go read his True Social. Do you think this guy's an idiot? He beat you guys 3 times in a row, okay? Donald Trump knows full well that the deep state slush fund of USAID funding media outlets to provide information later used for potential regime change at home is probably the biggest political scandal of our time. Please get the book. There's libraries. Your friends may have it. There are a lot of copies out there. I don't care how you get it. I promise you my incentives are pure here. You need to read it. You will never understand what's going on in full until you read it. We put a shit ton of work into this thing. It's a project I've been working on forever. This Ukraine piggy bank is at the heart of everything. There were pro-Russia, pro-European factions in Ukraine that were all making a fortune off lobbying people in the United States. By the way, Democrats and Republicans were involved. That's why some Republicans are really quiet about all of this. And USAID and others may have been involved in the funding of some of this stuff that was being used to protect this grift. It is a huge freaking scandal. Please check it out. I'm begging you. Again, Matt Palumbo at Bongino. He's my editor at Bongino Report. It's the conservative alternative to Drudge Report. If you haven't checked it out, it's BonginoReport.com. Got my Bongino Report mug. Matt is a George Soros expert. He's written books about George Soros. He will be on my show, I believe, later today to talk about exactly this. There is an entire racket going on with international, quote, development money that's being used to line the pockets of people here like the Biden regime. Thank you, Michael Schellenberger. This is a huge piece of a puzzle. This is like me searching for the MacGuffin my entire life with this thing, and Schellenberger put the final piece together. All right, I got a lot more show. You know what? I'm going to take a little bit of an early break right here because I want to get to this. We were vindicated again yesterday. For everyone who freaked out, Donald Trump sending the 82nd Airborne or whatever to take over Gaza. What did we tell everyone yesterday? What did we say? Bongino Army, you all were chill. Why? Because we know the rules. Our rule is what? Hold. Everyone chilled in the Bongino Army. And of course, if you applied the Bongino rule and you waited 24 hours, you now see, as they illuminate the details of the policy, that we were right. Again, while everyone else was freaking out. Hey, while we may have won the election, the fight to restore this great nation is only beginning. Now's the time to take a stand, and Patriot Mobile is leading the charge. As America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, Patriot Mobile offers a way to vote with your wallet without compromising on quality or convenience. Patriot Mobile isn't just about providing exceptional cell phone service. It's a call to action to defend our rights and our freedoms. With Patriot Mobile, you'll get outstanding nationwide coverage because they operate on all 3 major networks. If you have cell phone service today, you can get cell phone service with Patriot Mobile with a coverage guarantee. But the difference is every dollar you spend with Patriot Mobile supports a company that believes in the First and Second Amendments, the sanctity of life, and our veteran and first responder heroes. So switching's easy. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team will help you find the perfect plan. Right now, go to patriotmobile.com/Dan. Great company. Or call 972-PATRIOT and get a free month of service with promo code Dan. Switch to Patriot Mobile today and defend freedom with every call and text you make. Visit patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT. Thank you, Patriot Mobile. Great company. Been with us a long time. Check them out. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, vindicated again. If you're not watching this show, and you know, this annoyed some people. I don't want to get into stupid stuff like someone, reached out, oh my gosh, you keep saying you're the #1 MAGA show. Well, we are. I mean, I'm sorry if that bothers you. I'm not knocking other people. I'm just saying by audience, we are. If you're not watching the show, you're just missing out. We have been far ahead of the curve because we have a lot of people here who feed us information, and we're pretty well connected into the Trump orbit. And therefore, we speak Trump, I think, better than anyone. I told everyone yesterday after the Gaza announcement, the United States is not invading Gaza. Everybody needs to chill. Thankfully, the Bongino army understood this is not how Trump works. He doesn't say something and automatically mean exactly what he says in the beginning. He uses a maximalist position as a leverage point. He may mean it, he may not. It's the guesswork and the crazy man theory that makes the maximalist position effective. If you don't understand that about Trump, you got a long 4 years ahead of you. There's another thing he doesn't do. He doesn't rule out anything either, because by ruling out anything, he takes away a negotiating point. You've got to read The Art of the Deal and you'll understand how this guy thinks. He doesn't rule out anything. It's stupid to rule out anything. Here's what I mean. So Donald Trump basically drops a huge bombshell, and I think for the first time in a while that's accurate, and says the other day, which we covered at length, that he's talking about or thinking about taking over Gaza, this area in the Middle East, right on Israel's border and the Egypt border. And everybody freaked out, thinking, American invasion, genocide, all this other stupidity, which was nonsense. I was actually happy to see the Wall Street Journal, which really doesn't like Trump, take a pretty even-keeled position on this. Say, hey, what did Trump say was wrong? Palestinians have been screwed over by Hamas. The place is rubble. Nobody can live there. We want to fix it. The Journal usually hits him hard. We're like, I think it's a pretty fair thing he said. Here's Caroline Leavitt, excellent spokesperson for the White House, finally clearing this thing up and telling you exactly what we told you. Everybody chill. Take a look.
Can you explain this reversal and how building and owning Gaza squares with America First foreign policy?
I would reject the premise of your question that this forces the United States to be entangled in conflicts abroad. The president has not committed to putting boots on the ground in Gaza. He has also said that the United States is not going to pay for the rebuilding of Gaza. His administration is going to work with our partners in the region to reconstruct this region. And let me just take a step back here, because this is an out-of-the-box idea. That's who President Trump is. That's why the American people elected him. And his goal is lasting peace in the Middle East for all people in the region. And as I said in my opening remarks, we've had the same people pushing the same solutions to this problem for decades. And it's been made very clear to the president that the United States needs to be involved in this rebuilding effort to ensure stability in the region for all people. But that does not mean boots on the ground in Gaza. It does not mean American taxpayers will be funding this effort. It means Donald Trump, who is the best deal maker on the planet, is going to strike a deal with our partners in the region.
So for everyone who melted down, not you and the Bongino army, after Liberation Day, as you see, I got the shirt on today. You can pick one up if you'd like, up to you. But after Liberation Day, people started freaking out even more. Even people on our own side, which was disappointing. Oh my gosh, he's going to put boots on the ground in Gaza, invade, taxpayer dollars, nation building. He didn't say any of that. I don't know what you're talking about. If you just would have waited a day, she was just clear. He's not talking about U.S. taxpayer dollars. What did we say yesterday? Folks in the chat, come on. What did we say yesterday? You know. He is pushing regional partners over there who have the Middle East, people who have a direct regional interest. Like New York has an interest in New Jersey. Wyoming does too, but not as much as New York. It's right there. He's saying to the Saudis, UAE, Bahrain, Lebanon, Syria, everyone, get your shit together or daddy's home and he's going to fix it. If you just would have waited a day, instead of freaking out, 100,000 soldiers are going to die in Gaza. What are you talking about? You would not look like a moron today. Everybody chill, even the Wall Street Journal. had a pretty unbiased perspective on this, which shocked me. They were like, what did Donald Trump say that was crazy? The status quo is not working. He's like, the United States could probably play some role here with regional partners in fixing this mess. Either you fix it or I'm going to fix it. What the hell did he say that was wrong? Here's our national security advisor, Michael Waltz, saying the exact same thing again. I told you yesterday, if you watched yesterday's show, and thank you for all the feedback on it, I want you to know it means the world to me, you were way ahead of this story while everyone else was freaking out. We said this yesterday, exactly what Michael Waltz says here. He's really doing this to push these regional partners. He's not saying I'm not going to do stuff, so this is not him joking. It's him pushing. There's a difference. Watch the NSA, National Security Advisor, say the exact thing we said yesterday. Check this out.
I think what the president is just acknowledging is we've been looking at this over the last weeks and months, and frankly, he's been thinking about it since October 7th, and that war is, everybody's heart breaks for the Palestinian people across the region, and rightly so, but he's not seeing any realistic solutions on how those miles and miles and miles of debris are going to be cleared, how those, essentially unexploded bombs are going to be removed, how these people are physically going to live for at least a decade, if not longer, it's going to take to do this. So the fact that nobody has a realistic solution, and he puts some very bold, fresh, new ideas out on the table, I don't think should be criticized in any way. I think it's going to bring the entire region to come with their own solutions.
Why do you guys think I cut that where I did? Because it's exactly what we said yesterday. This is how he negotiates. Did you hear Michael Waltz at the end? Did you hear the last line? He's pushing regional partners. Hey, man, do you guys have any solutions to this? Nah, we don't have shit. You don't have anything, do you? What's your fix? I'm just curious, if you're out there and you're AOC, Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib, who melted down, this is genocide, whatever nonsense she was spouting about on X. What is your solution? Hamas decided to engage in a massive terror strike on a company that kicked their freaking asses. That's a fact. I'm not asking you how you feel. I'm telling you what is. How you feel about what is your own freaking problem if you're on the other side. You got your ass kicked. Yes, you killed a lot of Israelis. And they turned around and killed a shit ton of you terrorist assholes too. And they wiped out everything because you fucked with the wrong people. You don't start a war you can't finish. And you couldn't. That does not mean I am a savage. I fully understand that many innocent Palestinians were caught up in this, who had nothing to do with this, who were not terrorists. War is ugly, period. Anyone telling you otherwise is a moron not worth your time. But you don't start a fight you can't finish. Now Donald Trump comes in here with a sensible solution to a problem. The Palestinians living in Gaza have nowhere to go, folks. There's no sewage, there's no water, there's no electricity, there's no flat ground because there's freaking rubble everywhere. What is Rashida Tlaib's solution? More terror attacks? She doesn't have one. All she wants is the status quo, because you know what? Let me tell you what's really happening here, and I'm going to move on. I'm sorry, but I'm really passionate because I hate these foreign policy assholes who never propose a freaking solution to a problem ever. And they tell you, I'm a Rhodes Scholar in international relations. You're a freaking idiot. You have not proposed a single solution to a problem in forever. Here's what's really going on. Nobody wants to take in the Palestinians because countries that have done it in the past, in Lebanon and Jordan, have been destabilized by significant portions of Palestinian populations that engaged in kind of insurrections against those governments. Look it up yourself. Don't take my word for it. They don't want the Palestinians. If they wanted the Palestinians, they'd take them in, but they don't. So in order to keep their populations that they subjugate, because no one's freely elected in the Middle East outside of Israel, they need a common enemy. Tell me I'm wrong, fellas. Who's the common enemy? The evil Jews in Israel. And what do? They're like, look at what those evil Jews are doing to the Palestinians. Hey, why don't you take them in? Oh, no, you don't want to take them in. But the evil Jews are doing it. Everybody in the Middle East stays in power because they get the evil Jews narrative and they use the Palestinians as a pawn. That's what's going on. That's why Rashida Tlaib and all these other dipshits don't want to fix the Palestinian problem. Because if they do, the evil Jews narrative goes out the window. That's what's going on. You want the hard truth? Chew on them freaking apples. That's exactly what's going on right now. That's why they're freaking out about Donald Trump finally saying, Daddy's home, I'll fix it. They don't have a victim class of Palestinians. The evil Jews narrative goes away. That's what's happening. Ask your friends that. I don't care what side you're on. You love the Palestinians so much? Why doesn't the Arab world help them out? You realize Egypt will not take them in? It's right there, Gaza. Just let them, give them some space in the Sinai. Develop some property for them. They don't want to do it. It's Trump doing it. All right, let me take a break. And Stuart Thompson from the New York Times is back. This guy really loves his show. He's a big fan, guys. Did you know that? he's a P1. Stuart Thompson, welcome, Stu. Good to see you, buddy. Guy writes stuff about our show all the time. This actually isn't that bad, but I'll show you something next. I got that. And then a big Dan Bongino show prediction came true. I told you it was only a matter of time. Time for you to be awake, not woke. Start your day with a hot America First cup of Blackout coffee. Blackout Coffee is an active supporter of hardworking Americans that see their work as their duty. They honor and take care of their customers more than any other coffee company out there. Blackout Coffee uses only premium grade coffee beans. Premium grade coffee beans taste amazing. A lot of these woke mega corporations, they don't use premium grade beans. They use lower grade beans. That's why I'm proud to personally recommend Blackout Coffee. Skip those long lines at the store and order online. Folks at Blackout Coffee ship within 48 hours of roasting. It's incredible. Do me a favor. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. See what I'm talking about. They are the real deal. Time to quit drinking woke corporate junk coffee every morning. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino or use coupon code Bongino for 20% off your first order. Make the switch to Blackout Coffee. You're going to love it. And our last sponsor today before we get back to the show, and Stuart Thompson, who loves the show, Cozy Earth. Right now, there's not much more. I love them relaxing on Cozy Earth's bamboo sheet set. Not like good sheets, man. They are by far the softest, most luxurious sheets I've slept on. I got one on the bottom and one on top. Paula put it on there. I was like, this is good stuff. After a busy day when I'm tired, I really look forward to unwinding on Cozy Earth sheets. And you can rely on Cozy Earth's use because they use only the highest quality, softest materials. This Valentine's Day, make your home an escape from the outside world's demands and surprise your Valentine by relaxing and recharging with Cozy Earth's luxury sheets. Cozy Earth elevates love's little moments. Cozy Earth prides itself on the responsible production of all its products, plus their bedding products have a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty. I've been sleeping on them. You can't go wrong. So surprise your Valentine with Cozy Earth. They deserve this. Elevate your love with Cozy Earth. Head to CozyEarth.com/Bongino now to get up to 40% off and use my exclusive code Bongino. It's a big savings. That's CozyEarth.com/Bongino. And don't forget, if you're asked in a post-purchase survey, let them know you heard about Cozy Earth right here on the Dan Bongino Show. Thank you, Cozy Earth. Great sheets. Appreciate it. All right, back to the show. So it happened again. Stuart Thompson from the New York Times, who loves this show. So everyone, please, in the chat, Anita, if you could lead the way, everyone give a shout out. Welcome, Stuart Thompson. Stewie, welcome to the show. Good to see you. Stuart A. Thompson at the New York Times, who notes, actually, this is maybe the first accurate thing he said in a long time. Pro-Trump media sees nothing but winning. The judges ruled. Judge Bongino says, let the winning continue. Stu notes, but through it all, the mood amongst those in right-wing media has been nothing short of a bullion. Man, we almost shut down the chat. There you go, Stu. Everybody's welcome you to the show. Welcome, Stu Dog. Who said Stu Dog? Stu Dog. I like it, Stu Dog. So, oh, man, this is good. Stu, Big T78. Hey, Stu. Mike Platt. Welcome, Stu. Hey, Stuart. Anita, of course, welcoming Stuart. Good to see you all. Welcome, Stewie. Look at that. That chat. We melted that thing down. Tell me this isn't the biggest MAGA crew out there. He notes that we have been seeing nothing short of winning, and we are ebullient. I don't have time for all the winning, Bongino said, a longtime Trump supporter and popular right-wing podcaster. He said on his show, it's a good problem to have. Stewart's right. This is finally some quality reporting from the New York Times. I am not done with the winning. Keep the winning coming. And to people like Stewart and everyone else, the winning is not going to stop. I have been assured by people who are very close to this Trump orbit that this is the pace they are going to keep for 4 years. And I'm just, like I did yesterday with the Gaza story, encouraging you all on our side. Forget the lefties. They're going to overreact to everything, and I want to give them advice. Just chill. Let Donald Trump stories and statements, let them stew, no pun intended, for 24 hours, and you will see what Donald Trump meant. He speaks sometimes in a very opaque manner because it's part of his negotiating position. I'm not telling you everything is 4D chess. Sometimes he speaks extemporaneously and says something and takes it back. You move quick, you break stuff once in a while. It happens. The Gaza thing, I promise you, was not one of them. It was not. Okay. Here was a prediction I made. I'm not going to tell you this was some big, bold, insane prediction, but I told you it was going to happen because the left is crazy. Folks, the midterms, Dan, I don't want to hear about the midterm. No, I do. Okay. I'm always thinking the next election cycle. I'm sorry, but the reason the show's successful is because we see around corners. The next election cycle is already coming up, okay? It's only a matter of time before people start declaring for the midterm elections. Every congressional seat, a third of the Senate, we've got a tough run in the Senate. If we lose in the midterms, lose the House and the Senate, God forbid, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. It will be 2 years of fake investigations and collusion hoaxes into Donald Trump. So I'm already thinking midterms. Why is this important? Because another thing that's going to happen is if we lose the House in the midterms, which are just a year and a month or so, a year and 11 months away, which in my life is right around the corner, okay? If we lose, Donald Trump will be impeached again. For what? It doesn't matter. They'll make it up. They will use the dastardly deeds clause. That'll make sense in a second. Here's me a while ago making a prediction that has sadly already come true. Check this out. I'm about plans and plus ones and minus ones. I do not get involved in emotional stuff. I don't. I'm a passionate guy. I don't like the left, but I promise you I win. I asked you a favor, did I not? Tell me I didn't. Even for my haters out there. I said, please vote down ballot. A lot of these guys are going to be turkeys who are Republican congressmen and senators, but we need them because of a very simple tactical reason. Some of you didn't like that. Dan, I'm not voting for anyone with Trump. I said, that's a huge mistake because what's going to happen then is Trump is either going to get impeached or we're not going to get any of our nominees judicial or cabinet approved. I'm asking you to see the forest for the trees, and a lot of you get it. So I don't want to sound in any way condescending or not trying to sound like a tool. I'm not asking you to vote for Republican congressmen or senators you don't like. You aren't? No. I'm asking you to vote for Donald Trump because if you're not going to have Donald Trump if you don't vote for those people you don't like. I'm not asking you to vote for them. Most of them I don't like. They don't like me. Some of them don't even like us. However, if we lose committee spots and we lose the House and you vote for the other guys, the Democrats, or you don't vote at all, which is a huge mistake, Donald Trump will be impeached. He will. It's already started, folks. Here is Al Green at it again on impeachment. Al Green cites for impeachment high crimes and misdemeanors? No. I guess the dastardly deeds clause of the Constitution. Where's that in the Constitution? I know. He just made it up. Check this out.
I rise to announce that the movement to impeach the president has begun. I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed and dastardly deeds done.
There we go. You're always 6 months to a year ahead of the news cycle, sometimes more. I told you it was going to happen. Folks, these people are crazy. They are lunatics. The Democrats are in total disarray. Who the hell knows what the hell the dastardly deeds clause is? He just made it up. This guy's a moron. You're going to see more of this. and listen to me now. Oh, I don't want to hear about the midterms. I don't care. I don't mean to sound like a dick. I don't care what you want to hear about. We got to win. You like the winning? You want to keep the winning going? If we lose in the midterms, I guarantee you this guy will be impeached again. And God forbid we lose 60 plus seats in the Senate, or we need more. They would need more. You will see this guy impeached and removed, because there's always going to be a few sucker Republicans that fall for this too. However, let's get back to the good stuff. Folks, the FOing is piling up. Even Stuart Thompson sees it coming. I'm telling you, I'm having a hard time with all the winning. We're putting together shows at such a rapid pace. I gave the guys a challenge. Like, hey, you want to put together a show? As I tell them 5 minutes later, I already sent them half the show. Did I not? They're like, oh, we'll go find some. I've already given them just about everything because there's so much FOing happening. What's FOing? Well, this is the FAFO presidency. They F'd around, and now they're FOing. They're finding out. The finding out's happening over and over and over. So we're going to cover an FO segment just about every day or every other day. Here's a couple quick hits to put you in a good mood today. New CBS News has learned Attorney General, thankfully, Pam Bondi, will sign memos directing the DOJ to start a weaponization working group that will review the Twinkies case in New York, Tish James, Tyrant Jack Smith. Bondi will also end the moratorium on federal executions. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you, the FOing, the finding out is happening left and right. Here is Emil Bove, who was running the DOJ until Pam Bondi got in. He's still over there. Great guy, telling the FBI guys, hey, listen, man, you guys can freak out all you want, but he notes nobody's going to be fired for simply following orders and carrying out their duties in an ethical manner. But if you had, notice that in the third paragraph down, partisan intent, there is a good chance you will be fired. Yes. If you swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States as an FBI agent and engaged in a tyrannical investigation against Donald Trump with partisan intent and not the Constitution in mind, you do not deserve your job. I'm sorry, you broke your oath. What part of this is difficult? Did you think they were kidding? Seriously, do you think the Trump administration's kidding? Folks, I'm not going to accept any lectures on this either from fraudsters. In my last line of work, I protected Republicans and Democrats, and I did my job to the best of my abilities every time, and I tell you that with the absolute purest of hearts. I didn't say, oh, Barack Obama's a Democrat, let me do a shitty protection job. I'm sorry if you were an FBI agent and acted differently because you didn't like the politics of the person being prosecuted, you deserve to be fired. You violated your oath of office. Or you swore in as an 1811. Here's Aaron Mate, who I don't agree with on everything, especially in the Middle East, but he's been great on Spygate. And again, I'm not emotional about things at all. He notes it still hasn't sunk in. The FBI took part in framing not just any random person as a Russian agent, but the president. And in the process, they endorsed the Clinton campaign's condescending elitist message that voters who didn't vote for them were Russian assets. None of these Russiagate fraudsters, he notes, have owned up to this historic deceit. And Andrew McCabe, this absolute buffoon who was the deputy director and acting director of the FBI, who helped launch the probe, is still doing talking work on CNN. Here, watch this video. Andrew McCabe, who was one of the ringleaders of a fake investigation in the FBI they knew was fake, is still on CNN as a respected talking head about the FBI. This shows you the level of deceit and how no one is being held accountable by the left wing, but they are FOing by the Trump administration. Check this out.
FBI rank and file agents and analysts who make up the vast majority of the field offices who do the work of investigating these cases, of executing search warrants, of executing arrest warrants, doing surveillance, electronic surveillance, whatever it might be. Those people are never touched by the political winds that blow through every 4 years, nor should they be. They, as you said, they don't pick their work. They're assigned to the work that they do. The work they do is lawful. It's within FBI policies, and not doing the work is not really an option for them, right? They come to the FBI. Most of them come intending to stay for the entirety of their careers, 20 years or more, 20 years on the agent side, a little bit more for the support side. And so to be targeted in this way for termination potentially or retribution simply for doing their jobs on a major national security case is incomprehensible to them or anybody that knows the organization.
Folks, I mean, how is this guy still on TV? Is this guy still on TV? Do you understand if you look up his name, Andrew McCabe, FBI, that he is one of the central figures in this fake collusion case they made up that almost got the United States into a conflict with Russia over a fake story that Trump colluded with Russia to steal an election? You realize this guy was one of the ringleaders? And he's complaining that other people who may have been involved with him are career FBI. Listen, if you did your job honorably, thank you for your service. Terrific. If you didn't, I'm sorry. But Kash Patel and Pambandi, Emil Bove and others are going to ask you to leave because it's time for you to go. You screwed around. All right, now you're going to find out. Here's a couple more FOs. Trump to sign executive order banning men from women's sports and branding visas with the wrong sex as fraud. You know what? Can we skip ahead? I want to show you. Can we go to the video of him with all the kids around? Folks, and then that CNN poll. You guys know what I'm talking about? I'm skipping ahead a little bit. I want to show you something. Because again, another Dan Bongino operating evergreen theory I've told you over is the cannibalism theory. If you don't understand the Dan Bongino cannibalism theory, it's very simple. When the left loses an issue, like this men and women sports issue, which they got their asses kicked on, what winds up happening is the small group of crazies, about 20% who are pushing this stuff, men should compete in women's sports, which is insane, right? You understand they make money off this? They make money off social media promotion. They get money from left-wing groups to promote this crap, as you saw with USAID. Follow the money. Follow me here. People make money off crazy left-wing issues like men and women's sports. You got me? Does that make sense? So the cannibalism theory is this. They don't want to give up the gravy train, even when the issue buries the Democrat Party. This issue was probably 10 to 20%, if not more. I don't know, just throwing a number out there, of Donald Trump's victory in this presidential election. People were so annoyed at this, right? It was such an easy win for Republicans that same people like, why are Democrats still fighting for this craziness? Because people make money off it. So the cannibalism theory is once they lose the issue overall, they start going after what they see traitors in their own midst and lefties. J.K. Rowling, a perfect example. She's not a big conservative, but the author of the Harry Potter books, she's like public enemy number one to them. Martina Navratilova, the tennis player. They will start eating themselves alive because they can't give up the grift and they can't have people on the inside turning. Does that make sense? So you see this article in the New York Post about this. This was a huge deal. This is the easiest political win of all time. Here's Donald Trump yesterday, one of the best snapshots and sound bites you're ever going to see, signing this executive order, finally banning this craziness. And watch what he does. Remember, snapshots and sound bites, folks. That's politics. This issue is a loser for the left, but because they're making money off it, they're going to start eating their own alive. They're not going to let this go. And you can just sit back and chew on the popcorn. Watch this.
You know, if you'd like to gather around me, I think I'm going to be okay. Come on. Come on. Secret Service is worried about them. If we have to worry about them, we have big problems.
Folks, snapshots and sound bites, man, there is simply no one better at this than this guy. There isn't. You can deny his political skills all you want. He's just going to keep kicking your ass. The cannibalism theory. Digest it, apply it, read it, love it, own it. The left, unlike the right, when the right, I'm not saying we do this all the time, but when the right senses an issue is a complete, total political loser. Maybe it's a bad issue. We're not, sometimes something comes up. Maybe the politics of it weren't right for the moment. You'll see them walk away from it a little bit, right? This is not the case with the left. They will go all in because there's money there. They don't care. And they just sit back, eat your popcorn as they start eating themselves alive because there's no one on the right that supports this. Watch them start tearing each other to pieces. Here's a CNN segment. This is how bad of an issue for these lunatics who are dying on the craziest hill ever, men and women's sports. This is how bad of an issue this is for them. 80% of people, 79 to be exact, are against this. And these morons who are making money are about to sink their party over it. Here's a CNN segment. Imagine getting 80% of people to agree on anything. Check this out.
I think these numbers are really illuminating on this topic because I just think there's such a clear trend among the American public. So transgender female athletes in women's sports, only 18% of the country says that they should be, in fact, allowed to participate in women's sports. Compare this to the opposition. I mean, my goodness gracious, 79%. You rarely get 79% of the country to agree on anything, but they do, in fact, agree on the idea of opposing transgender female athletes in women's sports.
You ever seen a better example of my cannibalism theory? Just stand back, stand your ground on the issue, knowing you're right. Men and women's sports is crazy, and just watch. They'll eventually give up on you because they know they're never going to convince you to believe the crazy, and they will always eat their own alive. Always. Always. Because there's money in it. They can't give it up. They don't actually believe this. They don't. No, they don't. They're making money off it. They're getting money from USAID groups for transgender opera shows in Peru or whatever. There's freaking money in it, dude. You think these people are ideological zealots? Yeah, some of them are, but most of them are just greedy little shits. Don't even give them that much credit. Yeah, Bernie Sanders is probably a believer. 90% of people who follow him aren't at all. They're sitting there with their iPhones and their money and their lattes. You know what? Can we move ahead to the Rumbler segment? I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. Folks, the fixer is back. Here's another thing I haven't discussed in a long time. Man, I'm hesitant to bring this up again. And the only reason I am is because this thing sets the world on fire. And every time I do, it seems like a bit of self-promotion because I've been covering this forever. There is a figure in politics who has somehow managed to escape a serious scrutiny like the John Brennans and Jim Comey have. And I cannot figure out why, because she was at the heart of so many major Biden era, Obama era scandals. It is stunning that this woman is not the subject of further scrutiny by books and conservative groups out there. We've been all over it. We've done 10, 20 shows on it. Who is it? It's Catherine Rumbler. You know who Catherine Rumbler is? She was Obama's White House counsel. The Dan Bongino show calls her the fixer. Why am I bringing up Catherine Rumbler again? Throw the New York Post article up first. I see you have the Post there on the screen, but the New York, the one about the Epstein thing. It says, so this broke the other day. The Jeffrey Epstein case is back, folks. New Jeffrey Epstein docs reveal pedophile met with CIA chief and former White House counsel after the child sex crime conviction. Now, this article is not new. However, there are now some rumors out there that the new Department of Justice is going to start releasing some more information about the Jeffrey Epstein case. Wait, put that Post headline up again. What the hell was Jeffrey Epstein doing meeting with Barack Obama's fixer, his White House counsel? Hold on. Let me just give you a little litany and rundown of everything Obama's fixer was involved in fixing and what the hell was she trying to fix with the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Are there some high-level Democrats like the Clintons who may have needed some stuff to go away with this? Here's some more Catherine Rumbler stuff. Washington Post. Catherine, throw up the Washington Post headline for me. Washington Post. White House counsel Kathy Rumbler, from outsider to protector of the presidency. Politico. The IRS scandal. Who was at the center of that? Oh, look, the latest revelation. Catherine Rumbler was given early information about this thing and shared it with White House officials. It raises another question in order. Should Obama have been alerted sooner? You mean Kathy Rumbler knew before Obama? The Observer. Sex, lies, and the White House counsel? Catherine Rumbler blunders into the Secret Service scandal mess. Here's one more for you. Remember Benghazi? President's former lawyer speaks out. On Meet the Press, Catherine Rumler talks Obama's executive action and the court appearance of a suspected Benghazi mastermind. Folks, Rumler was at the center of all of the Obama-Biden stuff. Not all of it, but a good amount of it. She was the fixer. She was like that Olivia Pope character in that Scandal show that was out there forever. She was the mess cleaner. What the hell is she cleaning up with the Epstein scandal now? And now with the DOJ flipping over. Folks, if we don't uncover the full Epstein story, there is a huge hole in the follow the money, follow the influence picture.